Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting my week 3 vlog for May the Force read with you. And if I'm honest, last week was a bit of a flop. Week 1, really solid. Week 2, I did so little reading and so much Fortnite playing, which honestly, I'm not mad about. It was so fun, and I got one of my friends into Fortnite who had never played it before, and she had a great time. And it's Star Wars themed at the moment for May, and it's been a fun time. But I'm hoping to get back on my reading game this week. And if you missed last week's vlog, here's what we're currently working on. I started Empire of the Vampire. This was the spinner reel pick at the end of week 1, and I started it. I've read this previously a little bit, and I'm almost back to where I had previously left off. And I originally planned to get to page 250 by the end of the week. I didn't quite get there. I'm a little past page 150, so I'm gonna try and read 250 pages of this week, but I'm not gonna be talking about this in this vlog, really. I'm planning to just kind of read it in the background and probably check in the final week when I have my final thoughts, just because I'm feeling very ambivalent about it, but I am still enjoying it and I want to finish it. So I'm gonna be reading this in the background. I'm currently here, and by the end of this week I'd like to be, oh god, this is so much further along than I was thinking it was going to be. Somewhere, that's 495. Let's see, is 500 anywhere near? Yeah, okay, so this much of this book I'm gonna try and read this week, which is equivalent to like a smaller novel. What I need to do is just get in gear. I think I got bogged down because I had previously read the first part, so there was nothing new happening, but I am now getting to the bit where I left off. I'm like a couple of pages away from that, so hopefully I can get in gear and read this little chunk of this book, which will leave just this last little chunk for the final week. That's the plan, but again, I'm not going to be talking about this really in the video. I just wanted to give you that as background for, I can't get this dust jacket back on. What's happening here? Background for what's going to be going on this week. Okay, come on. Come on, dust jacket. That was weird. I don't know why that got stuck. Anyway, that's one thing. The other thing I started literally yesterday is The Ivory Key by Akshaya Raman, which I'm currently using for, hang on, I don't remember which font. Let me look at the whiteboard. It's a two-sided one, so it's got my work stuff on one side. Force Valor, and the prompt for this was a book where the author's name is above the title. So Akshaya Raman, Ivory Key. So that's what I'm using that one for, and I'm like 100 pages into this. I'm enjoying it so far. It's feeling a little bit flat in terms of its character relationships, but I am enjoying the plot, and I do like a couple of the characters a lot. I'm particularly interested in Vera and Caleb. I think they're the most compelling characters so far, but I still like Raya and Ronak. I think they're both interesting. I think they're just, their motivations make a little bit less sense to me, and I think it's at this point I just don't have as much background on them and like their role and where they, or what happened in their lives to make them end up where they're at now. So I suspect I'll get some more information on that, but at the moment I'm particularly interested in Vera and Caleb. So having a good time, hoping to read this pretty quickly because I read this 100 pages yesterday in like no time flat. It was a really easy read and I'm having a good time. The writing is really nice. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're starting this week off at. I'm gonna try and finish this one ASAP, but it probably won't be tonight because I actually need to edit last week's vlog, which you will have already seen before this. I'm editing that this evening, and then I'm also streaming this evening. I'm gonna be playing Mail Time, which my partner gifted me a while back, and it's this like cute little game where you play as like a little mushroom person delivering mail, and it just looks like really charming and cute, and I felt like that was just kind of what I wanted for this week. So I'm gonna be streaming some of that later, and I'll hopefully get back onto my reading tomorrow. Although tomorrow I'm also going to pick up new glasses, so that's also very exciting. I have been wearing these ones since pre-pandemic, and they're all scratched up, and the hinge on this side is a little bit wobbly now, and yeah, it was just time. My lenses are all scratched to hell, and it was time for some new glasses. Another week, another oops I didn't read anything update, because it's currently Wednesday and I've read 40 pages of The Ivory Key and 0 pages of Empire of the Vampire since I last started this video on Friday. I was gonna say last updated, but I realized that the last update was in fact the intro. So yeah, not exactly my most productive week, but I have to be honest with you that time has just completely gotten away from me this week. I spent the weekend running errands with my partner and helping my best friend get ready to move. She had movers coming Tuesday, so I was spending my Saturday and Sunday afternoons over there visiting her and trying to help get everything put into boxes, get the furniture ready, all of that kind of stuff. So that was the weekend, and then this week I've been doing a lot more streaming because one, I was just kind of missing it. I hadn't done much streaming in a while, and two, my partner is organizing a charity event called the Rainbow Rat Parade that's going to be taking place between June 1st and June 8th, and I know that's going to be like a full week of streaming because I want to participate the full week, and that means I need to get my stream endurance up a little bit so that I'm prepared to do that. So that's where all of my time has gone this week, and I just haven't been picking up much to read. That said, I still want to make some progress. I recognize I'm not going to finish this entire stack by the end of the month, but I still would like to finish a couple more books so I could feel like I made a good chunk of progress towards that goal. To do that, I think I need to make a couple of changes to make it doable. So the first change is that I'm extending this vlog. This was supposed to run until tomorrow and then go up Saturday, and then I would have one more vlog starting Friday that would go up the 31st, so the last Saturday of the month. Instead, I'm going to extend this and just make it weeks 3 and 4 both, since week 3 is basically nothing. And I will post this video, you'll know this because this is when you'll see it, I'm going to post this video on the first Tuesday of June instead. So it'll go up at the end of the month, giving me all the way through the 31st to actually do the reading. So that gives me a little bit extra time, and also gives me a chance to create a video that isn't just me going, hey, I didn't read anything. So that's the plan there, and I'm also going to be making a couple of small changes to my TBR. So, keeping the Ivory Key, I am anticipating hopefully finishing this in the next day or so. It's pretty fast when I actually pick it up, and I'm going to have a little bit of time this evening and a little bit of time tomorrow to work on it. So that's going to be one thing. But I am going to go ahead and drop Empire of the Vampire. I think this was just a terrible choice for a readathon TBR. That said, I am glad that this pushed me to actually restart it, and I'm going to put it with a stack of books I keep on my desk that have just kind of been waiting for this readathon to end, and put it in my like currently reading but not right now in May pile. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I do still want to finish it. I don't want to be defeated by it, but I can't keep reading it for now because it's creating a bit of a logjam. So instead, even knowing I'm not going to finish this full stack, I still feel obligated to like swap something back in for the neutral prompt that I now need to hit the goal. Don't ask me why I'm doing this, it just feels like the right thing to do, but I figured I'd add something for telekinesis, which is to pick a book based on your month of birth. So if you have a birthday in the first 4 months of the year, you needed to read a book set before 2005. I have a January birthday, so I'm going to be reading Club Dead by Charlaine Harris. It's the third book in the Sookie Stackhouse series, and it's set in 2003. So it works out. I also know that this is going to be like really quick and easy to read, so there's that element of it too. So that's those two. And then I'm also going to be taking off The Fractured Dark from my list. I'm really excited to read this, but it's the only book I had on my TBR that isn't working towards one of the prompts that I needed for the title that I want. So I'm gonna set this one aside, and my character can just be a human, that's fine. I am hopefully gonna be getting to this one soon though, because I am, again, really excited to read it. So those are the big changes, and now I need to figure out what I'm reading over the next little while, because definitely these two. But on this upcoming weekend, I'm going to be out of town because my partner and I are going to visit his family for Memorial Day weekend. And then on the way back, he's dropping me off at my mom's house, and I'm going to be there for the next week. And I won't be back until like the 30th. So, no, not the 30th. I'll be back on the 31st. So literally the very end of this month is when I'll be back. So I need to take some stuff with me to read, but I also know that I can't take all of these. I'm not going to have that much reading time while we're over there visiting. So I need to figure out what I'm actually going to be tackling in this video. So I definitely feel like these two are doable. I'm hoping to finish this one before I leave. Fingers crossed it's a quick read when I'm actually picking it up. We'll see how that goes. But those two. And then I think what makes the most sense is to take some of the shorter books with me. So I'd love to go ahead and finish The Dead Cattail Assassins, which is only 200 pages. That's one I could easily read in an evening. So I feel like this one's a good pick since I'll be traveling. And then I think the other one I want to take, just to give myself some choice and some variety, is Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore, because this one is on my self-destructing books list for the year, and I haven't really been making any progress towards that. And on top of it, it's a pretty short, it's just a little mystery book, so I feel like that'll give me a little bit of variety since I have a lot of like fantasy here. Take one that's not fantasy, and I feel like this is the goal for the rest of this video. I don't know if it's doable, I honestly don't, but I think that this is a lot more doable than trying to continue reading Empire of the Vampire or trying to finish this entire stack. So we're just kind of truncating the goal a little bit, and I think it'll all work out. I think that's it for the update right now though. I am going to try and get some reading done this evening before I stream. Tonight's stream is at dead of night with some friends of mine, so I'm really excited for that. And yeah, we'll just go from there. I will hopefully have some reading updates for you soon. But thanks for bearing with me as my plans have gone completely out the window. Not a reading update, but I did have to pop in for a second because one of my most anticipated releases of the year just came. It's Strange New World by Vivian Shaw. I'm so excited. I pre-ordered this and it just came in today. I had to run out and get it because I'm getting ready to leave to go to my mom's house for the next little bit. Dropping off my stuff over there, partner's picking me up to go visit his family, and then I'm staying with my mom for a week. So kind of preparing for that. Also, I'm out of breath. I kind of ran back and ran up the stairs so I could film this clip. Just super excited. I really love this series. It's the Dr. Greta Helsing series. It's so fun. The characters are just a delight. I'm really excited that the last book is here, and I'm gonna be reading this hopefully this year. I finally finished The Ivory Key. Unfortunately, I did not finish it in May. It's currently June 2nd, and I am just popping in to wrap up this vlog. But I did finish this one. I had a decent time with it. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I think most of my issues with this book can be boiled down to the fact that there's too many POV characters. We're following this set of 4 siblings. We have Vera, who's the Maharani. She is newly installed as the Maharani and is feeling a lot of pressure to be the same kind of ruler as her mother, but at the same time she had a very tense relationship with her mother and doesn't necessarily want to be the same kind of person. So she's dealing with that. We have Caleb, who is actually imprisoned per Vera's command, and he is struggling with the loss of the life that he thought he was going to lead. Then we have Ronak, who wants to free Caleb from prison and flee Ashoka, and he is getting involved in some questionable things as part of that effort. And finally we have Rhea, who left the family 2 years ago to become a thief and is returning to the castle with her own kind of motivations. The 4 of them end up having to work together towards the Ivory Key, which is an artifact that's supposed to like unlock the magic quarries, because their country has run out of magic, and given the magic was its main export, things are kind of falling apart. Their economy is in shambles, and they are under attack from a neighboring empire that believes that they're just hiding the magic, and the empire wants to gain access to it and control of it. So the 4 siblings are having to work together despite having a lot of differences and having all of these various different motivations for why they're after the Ivory Key. And I think ultimately it just has too many POVs because there's not that many pages in this book, so you're only spending a few pages at a time with each character, which meant that a lot of their motivations felt a little underdeveloped, with Vera and Caleb I think being the strongest characters in the book, and both of them occupying really interesting places within Ashokan society and within their family. So I really liked them. I think they were a little bit better developed, whereas Ronak and Rhea felt very samey, like they both have kind of the same motivations, although they're doing slightly different things about those motivations, but they both feel kind of immature in a way that didn't quite fit with everything else that we learned about them. And because we're only spending a few pages with them at any time, I think that contributed to the problem of their motivations feeling a little underbaked at some times. And then the other problem is that there's a lot of side characters in here. Each of them has kind of somebody important to them in the periphery, but because there's so little time spent with each character, there's not a lot of time to develop all of those relationships. So there's some moments that I think are supposed to be really poignant and emotional that just weren't hitting the way that I think they could, because we didn't really know those side characters very well. I didn't really know the relationships as they existed with those side characters prior to the events of the book. We didn't get a good look at what those relationships were like before, so when things were shifting, the shifts felt kind of abrupt and sudden. So yeah, I think it just kind of boils down to too many characters, not enough pages, and it just needed a little extra development. That was all it was. I think it could have been like 100 pages longer and it would have been a stronger book. Things would have felt a little bit less flat to me. That said, I did really enjoy the world building. I think the world building is fantastic. I really like the way magic works in this world, and there's some incredible food descriptions too. Like, if you like a good food description, this book has a ton of them and they're really good. I was really enjoying all of those elements where there's like parties and they're describing the food. It was really fun. So overall, did have a good time with it. It just felt a little bit flat. Needed a little extra time in the oven before it was really ready to publish, but I am intrigued enough that I might pick up the second book sometime in future, because I think some of the characters leave off at interesting points at the end of this book. I'd say the last half, and especially like the last third, are the strongest parts of this book, and I really liked some of the turns that the story took, some of the turns the world building took, and I'm curious to see how some of the character lines are going to play out. So that's my feelings on the Ivory Key. Glad that I finally picked it up and read it, and now I'm just wrapping things up because I did not finish anything else. I really meant to, but the week ended up just being a lot busier than I anticipated, a lot less reading time, and honestly I'm okay with that. We had a really nice visit with my partner's family for Memorial Day, and then we drove back and I stayed with my mom for a week and I had a good time hanging out with her. We got to see some family friends, and I got lunch with one of my friends that lives over where my mom lives. And on top of all of that, my partner and I are now in the process of trying to adopt a dog, so that's also been taking some of the time, some of the mental energy as well, just looking at various rescues in the area, seeing who's reputable, who is running the rescue in a way that I feel good supporting them, and also just trying to find a dog that we think is going to be a good fit for us. We are currently in the process of trying to adopt a dog that we really like. We are trying to get a meet and greet set up, so I'm hopeful that we'll get that like sorted out soon. But we had a really good conversation with the Fosters, and just like I'm really like keeping my fingers crossed. So that's kind of what's been going on in the background. There's just been a lot going on, and I ended up not being in the mood to read all that much. I did think about canceling this vlog because I didn't really read anything in it, but I decided, one, that I like the continuity of finishing out the month with the vlogs that I had started, and two, I feel like it's important, or there's something important to me about being open and honest about failure as well as success, because I often fail, but I feel like, and for me as a part of my own growth, just like being able to acknowledge failure and say like, my plan didn't go exactly to plan, but I'm okay with the reasons that happened, and now I'm on like a different path that is also positive. I feel like that is really important to me. So I did want to go ahead and finish out this vlog and just say like, hey, I tried, I failed, but it's all good. Also because this is a hobby and it should not be stressful. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you today. Let me know down in the comments below if you participated in May the 4th to read with you, and if you did, what was your favorite book that you read for the readathon. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, I hope you consider giving a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. Currently posting on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.